Today's chicken soup for the pet lover's soul is titled Socks. Socks. When I was about 6 or 7, I had a little mutt puppy named Socks. Socks and I were inseparable buddies for the half year he was with me. He slept at the foot of my bed. The last thing I felt at night and the first thing I felt again in the morning was his warm, wiggly form. I loved him with a love that has dimmed little as the years have passed. One day, Socks turned up missing. A neighborhood rumor circulated about someone seen coaxing him into a car, but nothing could ever be proved. Socks stayed missing, and I cried myself to sleep for many nights. If you've never lost a dog, then you don't know the feeling. But believe me, it only slightly diminishes with time. My parents tried everything to get me to brighten up, with no apparent luck. Maturity and years healed the wound so that it was no longer visible, but it remained inside of me. One day, many years later, my feelings resurfaced. My family and I were visiting my parents at their wooded acreage in northern Michigan when our tag-along family mongrel Buckshot turned up missing. Old Buck was a pretty good hound. He resembled a big, lovable bear cub more than he did a proper dog. And this day he decided to see what was on the other side of the mountain. His disappearance hit my 7-year-old son, Chris, especially hard, since Chris figured that Buck was his personal property. The other kids were fond of the dog too, but not like Chris. Chris was the archetypal freckle-faced little guy with missing teeth and chubby cheeks. He had the knack of looking sad and pitiful, even when he was happy. When he was broken-hearted, the angels held their breath. Chris worried that his pal was gone forever, and looking at my son, I could feel the years peel away. I saw myself and Socks all over again. The old pain had come back. The rain started falling softly as I hoisted myself into my Jeep and began driving back roads, stopping to call Buckshot with a disturbing touch of frenzy in my voice. In my mind's eye, I saw Chris out in the rain wearing a slicker that was way too big, searching with falling hopes. Miles later, with a throat scraped raw from screaming, I still hadn't reduced the family pet to a possession. Back at the cabin, I parked the Jeep and took off on foot, avoiding Chris's eyes, not wanting to admit that maybe a city-bred dog could get irretrievably lost in that wilderness. I struck out for the depths of a quaint little piece of real estate the locals refer to as Dead Man's Swamp, muttering under my breath about dogs and their hold on small boys. If you've ever wandered around alone way back in the woods as nightfall is setting in, then you know what kind of tricks your mind can play on you. I felt my vision fog up. The old pain was resurfacing. After 5 miles of walking, screaming, running and sweating, I sat down on a slab of rock near an open meadow and tried to sort out how I was going to tell the little man that lived at my house that I couldn't find his dog. Suddenly I heard a rustle from behind me. Whipping around, I saw old Buck bounding up to me with that "where the heck have you been" attitude that runaway dogs muster up when they're finally found. We rolled on the ground together, my frustration dissolving in the wet ferns. After a bit, I put the dog at heel, and we half stumbled and half ran back to the cabin. When we came out of the woods, my son with the long face, my own father, and the vagabond Pooch grabbed and hugged one another. That was when it hit me. I felt as if I had been transported back in time to witness a homecoming I'd hoped for but never got to experience. My dad was there, looking 30 again. The little boy hugging the spotted hound was me, a quarter-century ago. And old Buck? He was another much-loved mutt who'd finally found his way back. Socks had come home. This is written by Steve Smith, and it's a great story of pets as healers and how they can remind us of those wounds and help us work through them. Chicken soup for the pet lover's soul. And at least Socks might have not have come home, but old Buck did.